Hello there, I'm Tim and he's John, and this is How to Murder Time, a podcast about games and things.
Mainly things. Hello, everybody.
Watcher! Yeah, a lot of things this time.
Yeah,
because
I've done some games.
I haven't done any... Well, I've done some games, but not nearly enough to talk about, and I just... don't know. I feel it's, like I say, the old mood again. But anyway, we haven't done many things in a while.
No,
so.
we haven't. We sort of neglected the things part. So we're going to, over the next couple of months, we're going to bring the things back a bit.
Going to spend some of your indulgence, dear listener, on some things that you possibly
we
aren't
actually
interested
got a lot
in.
of complaints when we stopped doing things and started doing too many computer games.
Yeah.
But then again, we also got complaints when we did too much MMOs or not enough MMOs. Yeah, so I don't bother listening.
Maybe we should do one show per listener, tailored to that listener.
We do.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
Honestly, we do.
Fair enough. Anyway, do you want to start just to ease the shock?
Let's start with a game.
Yeah, start with a game just to ease back into this gently.
Okay, I've got a couple of briefish ones of games
Briefish.
and a bit of a rant about a game.
Oh, good.
But I'm going to start off with Doom.
Doom?
The new Doom.
Doom?
Yes.
What? Doom?
Doom.
Doom.
As in Doom.
Doom from like 1938, 39,
yes,
something
back
like
from
that?
there.
Yes.
Yeah, predated Wolfenstein,
yes.
which was out in 1942.
Predated the Transistor.
Yeah. Now, Doom, the latest... alleged reboot or something, because they didn't bother giving it a number, because no one gives... Hitman's out, didn't get a number, terrible. It would just restart everything
I think the numbers, I don't know what the psychology of marketing is regarding sequel numbers and installment numbers, but they definitely seem to be not the thing anymore. I can't remember the last time I saw a such and such 2 or 3 or whatever. And
it's all the kids...
And by the time you get up to 8 or 9th installment of whatever, what can you think of that's had 9 installments? I think Ultima. And possibly Star Trek. And even they rebooted. Did they get to 9? Star Trek movies?
6, 7, 8, 9, yeah.
I'm sure there was a Police Academy 9, but probably not talking about. But
yes. Yeah, no, there've been some games that got to 9.
I suppose the thinking is that if you're trying to sell installment, I'm just looking at your desktop. Say for example GTA V there, maybe people will be put off from jumping on the franchise, thinking that they have to deal with the required reading of installments 1 through 4 first.
I think it's just the damn kids on our lawns today.
Oh, fair enough.
Don't like to think
it's
that
increasingly
something's really old.
Yeah.
So I'm blaming the kids.
All right, so it's the kids' fault. So many kids today, many people in full-time employment today won't be old enough to remember Doom.
I love Doom.
Yeah.
The first
seminal,
Doom,
groundbreaking
the second Doom,
first-person
fantastic.
shooter.
The third Doom we do not talk about.
Do we say that Doom invented the FPS genre?
Well,
is that a bold claim, or is that some substance
Do
there?
not forget that the FPSs used to be called Doom clones.
Doom clones, yeah.
Back in the day, I still want to call them that.
Obviously, there were examples of the form from prior to Doom, but it really kicked off with Doom. Wolfenstein by the same people.
And a couple of other bits.
Ultima Underworld.
Yeah.
Sort of a first-person RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway.
No,
definitely a first-person RPG. But anyway, yes, the new Doom.
Yeah, new one. Let's
Doom.
reboot it all. Hurrah.
Yeah, it's not half bad, you know.
Because I vaguely remember way back when you were looking at... Did you ever look at Doom 3 on the show, or was that just an out-of-show pub conversation? I remember you found it
I
to be
played it
bollocks.
briefly and really did not like it.
Yeah. Because they basically went a bit mad with the psychological survival horror thriller of it
I saw a
all,
review of the
really,
new Doom which
really
complained that it
what
dropped
Doom.
the survival horror aspects.
Doom is so not survival horror. You're a super soldier uber trooper who faces the entire legions of hell on equal footing and wins. There's no real creeping around the corridors, looking at the motion tracker and wondering if you got enough bullets to survive
the
night.
game starts where you free yourself from a thing, have to shoot 2 guys, preferably with headshots, with the pistol. Then you get your suit of armour.
Oh, yeah.
Then 30 seconds later, get the shotgun. And then the game speeds up.
And then we're off, yeah.
It's basically a very, very fast-paced shooter where if you use finishers, which is punching people, ripping their arms off, or hitting them around the head, you'll get health back. Because you'll be losing health constantly from stuff.
Oh, it's a health pack. So it's what was it? Bulletstorm does that? It sort of runs all its power-ups off how stylishly or sadistically you execute the enemies and things. Yeah.
But not quite as complicated.
Yeah.
And there are health packs, but there aren't.
What else am I thinking of? Dad, Space Marine.
Yes, it's very Space Marine's health recovery is definitely an inspiration.
There wasn't health packs lying around. You got your health back by being awesome and stomping stuff and using hammers and things. And
they have definitely played Space Marine in this game.
Yeah.
Only it's a hell of a lot faster than Space Marine.
Yes, Space Marine is a bit more set piece. Where this is more of a flowing thing, is it? Or?
Sort of, but it's also basically you'll go along for a bit, killing lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Slowing you down slightly by needing to kill them and rip their arms off to get health back. Because that just seems to be how they want you to play it.
Fine.
And that does get a little bit tiresome after a while.
Yeah, it sounds like a design goal that they're trying to keep you charging forward as
you
fast as possible, because that's the spirit of Doom, really.
There is no waist-high cover to hide behind.
Chest-high walls, yeah. Sprinting between them.
You're basically, it wants you to go out there and shoot stuff and kill stuff and punch stuff and chainsaw stuff down the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
And basically just kill it all as quickly as possible.
Very much what the first 2 games were definitely about. Yeah.
And the game plays beautifully. Very early on, there's a bit... you get through that tutorial bit at the start, then it goes to a lift, which basically turns into the opening titles very briefly.
It's a bit cinematic there.
The music happens, the nice music, and then the music ends, and the last 2 notes in the music are you cocking a shotgun.
I see. Teasing you with it being something more grandiose than it
and then
actually
the first thing it does, you're on the surface of Mars.
Mm-hmm.
You're wandering around outside, then you look down.
Oh yeah, Doom had a plot, didn't it?
Yeah, ish.
There was something to do with like a Mars facility or something.
Yeah, you're just killing stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah, and you look down and there's this imp down on the floor. I think it's an imp, and it wants you to shoot it and kill it. But what it really wants you to do, because it's set you up perfectly, is to jump down, shotgun it on the way down, punch it on the head just as you land on it, and then take out the next guy.
Oh, excellent. So it's setting you up to be awesome and then presumably delivering.
Yeah, and it really does flow well and plays well. And it doesn't do more than it sets out to do, which is be Doom. Now, it's not just a case of shooting stuff. There's also a weapon upgrade system, which, okay, we'll let it have that.
Oh,
which
crafting, save up the points, modify the gun. No, big spinning shotgun hovering on the floor. Pick it up, cause awesome.
Yeah, but there's stuff like you can give you a shotgun explosive bolts. There's these floating things you can pick up, or you can capture and pick up, which give you different modes on your weapons.
Sounds labyrinthianly complicated to me.
It's not, it's really simple. And there's also challenges you can do, like kill 10 imps, I think it is, using your alt mode on your shotgun. So you just set your shotgun to explosive, and
I don't know. That's your modern game design creeping in, isn't it?
That is definitely
your twiddly achievements and extra bits and customizable weapon system. There's
all of the mission logs and stuff to find as well, because of course it is video games.
Shoot,
and there's lots of secrets to find.
The key point about Doom is how utterly mindless and cathartic it is. You know, you don't want the plot, you don't want the collect all the widgets to get the slightly different shotgun that fires a different kind of bouncing bullet or something. You don't want the weird, I don't know, combo systems or whatever. You just want to charge around gunning stuff down.
Well, that's
repeatedly.
That
is Doom.
That's the biggest
That's where Doom 3 went wrong.
That's the biggest difference between original Doom and Nice Doom.
Yeah.
Which is, this game does not let you just run ahead. There's a lot of rooms where you have to clean out before it'll let you through.
Checkpoint.
And that didn't happen that often in the original Doom. In the original Doom, that was mainly just you could run through a level and ignore stuff.
Yeah, but then back in those days we had loading screens. I imagine this Doom is using that kind of mechanic to quietly bring in the next bit of level whilst you're stuck in your room dealing with incoming waves.
No, I don't think it is.
No?
I don't think it might do on the consoles, but on PC it really doesn't need to. So I don't. It's just this decision they've got. They're these monster rooms where it's got this imp spawner thing in the middle, which you have to rip out the beating heart from, because Doom.
Right.
And
up to 11.
There's just an awful lot of having to clear stuff out before it lets you go on. It's really annoying. It doesn't feel like Doom at that point.
Yeah. So the secrets, that was part of
Doom. There were lots
hidden
of
walls
secrets.
and things.
Yeah.
So there was a cerebral dimension to original Doom, and sometimes you shoot
wasn't.
a wall and the wall would open and there'd be a thing in there.
Clicking on every bit of the wall to see if it would open.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So you still got the secret walls and stuff in there, I suppose.
You've got lots of secrets to find. You've got areas that you might not discover. You've got there's the basic plot in the background, which is demonic invasions going on.
Something, demon something.
Know.
Yeah. Is the first third of the game given away for free?
No.
Oh, I miss those days.
I saw a review of this game which said that it originally released it as shareware as a way to counter the Senate investigations against it, which is obviously some young kid misreading Wikipedia and not quite getting what actually happened.
Bonkers conspiracy theory, yeah. No, it was an extremely generous try before you buy type system, which many people found that they only really needed the first third of the game.
That was the big problem.
That was the big problem. They just gave away way too much, yeah. But I think the second and third parts were worth it, certainly, back in the day. I remember I bought them.
That much of a fan of the fourth part. I thought that was a bit too much.
Fourth part?
That was released afterwards.
Oh, some sort
final
of proto DLC type thing, yeah.
But yeah, I really like the game, apart from one minor, tiny aspect.
Yeah.
Every time I quit out of it
Yeah.
and go back in,
Yeah.
it marks my save as having cheated.
Huh?
Because there's a stupid bug in there somewhere, which means that every time I go in again, it reckons I'm running developer mode, and all my progress won't count.
It's
and
probably
everything.
located and installed a Visual Studio or something.
I
is it?
don't know, but it's really annoying.
Well,
to be honest, haven't got that far in it because I can only get through in one session before I think, oh, screw this.
To be honest, I think you are cheating. You're supposed to do it in one go, the entire thing, because that's how we rolled in those days. Probably, I can't remember. Actually,
Definitely,
there was definitely marathons involved. I know. I'm too old to be able to do that kind of thing anymore without keeling over. But yeah, Doom, fantastic.
It's really good. I really recommend it. It's great fun.
Cool. How long do you think it'll take you to get through? How far are you through?
At the current rate, forever. Because I keep having to restart the first level.
Oh, the cheat marker.
Yeah.
Oh, balks the save game entirely.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a patch at the moment.
Oh my god! Wow, that's hardcore.
I know, terrible.
We don't see games like that anymore.
Yeah,
no saving at all.
Apart from that minor bug, it's fantastic.
What difficulty level are you playing on?
I usually play
Knee
on...
Deep in the Dead?
No,
that was the chapter name, wasn't it?
Hurt Me Plenty I'm playing
Hurt Me Plenty.
But every time I go back in, it resets it to the lowest difficulty level, and I think I can't be asked for that.
Oh, fair enough.
So, yeah.
That's quite a significant bug. I don't know if anyone else has come across that.
Some people have, but I'm hoping on a patch quite soon.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good though. Where'd you get that? Steam, usual places,
I got it on
everywhere.
Steam, usual places. All your favourite retailers.
Something consumer leanings, something whatever. I sometimes kid
Buy
myself
on
that
consoles if you want, but it really wants a keyboard and mouse. It really wants a keyboard and mouse.
Sometimes kid myself we're providing consumer advice here, but that really never is the case.
No, we never are.
Everyone's already gone out and bought all the stuff we talk about well before we get there.
Oh yes, we have.
Cool. All right, I'm going to talk about a thing then. Are you done?
Yeah,
I'm going to talk about a thing. I'm going to talk about one of the reasons why I'm not really playing enough games at the moment. I mean, partly it's just gaming on Wii at the moment, and something of a... I mean, there's new games coming out, and there's games that came out that I totally ignored and still need to get round to, so it's not so much that I'm bored I haven't got anything to play. It's more that I'm just got lots else going on in my life, and so I'm going to bore the listener with some of those things here instead. So, I talk about the Hugo Awards 2016. So, long-time listeners of the show may remember the occasional abortive attempt to review a book here and there on this here podcast. But I've been a keen sci-fi nut for quite some time. I've been trying to spend... it's about bucket lists, basically. We're getting on a bit. I'm 40, and we had a little get-together. Almost over half the listeners of the show were all there, drinking outside Buckingham Palace.
Listen to the show.
It was brilliant. Some of the people there didn't listen to the show, but that's okay, that's fine. It was a good day out. But yes, so to celebrate my encroaching decrepitude, I thought, I'm going to have to start
You're
thinking
decrepit
about...
now. You've been decrepit for about 10 years.
Start thinking about getting some things done from the bucket list, the things, because I've got another 5 years of useful life left. I got to crack on. I got to get some stuff done. So I've been going through various things on there, and one of the things that I've been quite keen on doing was getting involved in the Hugos. So the Hugos is basically the Oscars for science fiction writing. They come in all sorts of categories. There's novels, short stories, best long-form dramatic thing. I'm going to keep talking anyway. Okay. So, do turn off and stop listening, dear listener, if you like. But yes, I've been particularly fascinated with the novel thing, because I'm just a massive book omnivore type. I will read lots and lots of fiction pretty much all the time throughout all the rest of anything else that's going on. And I thought, well, I'm quite fascinated by the idea of... I suppose the Hugos for me is about discoverability, because you wander into a big old bookshop and you go to the science fiction and fantasy sort of side shelves, and it's just a bit overwhelming, really. I'm not particularly finger on the pulse of the scene or whatever. I don't go to wherever it is you go to learn what's good and what's not.
It's car parks outside ice rinks in the middle of the night where you learn about the current state of the art of books.
Anyway, basically the point being is that I haven't got a clue what's going on as usual. So I thought, well, why not just use the Hugo Best Novel category as a kind of guide to discovery, to finding new authors and things. Go on then.
It's not necessarily the best book released that year, it's just the one that got the most number of votes.
No, I know. I'm discovering all that as we go. But I mean, otherwise I'm just going to have to go in there and buy everything they've got, starting at A, and work my way through, which is not very scientific.
You'll be really bogged down on Alastair Reynolds for years.
I like Alistair Reynolds, but there's a lot of books in there that are probably not that good, which is why I need some kind of guiding light to help me decide which ones I should be looking at and buying. Because remember, these are big books. The Hugo Best Novel category is eligible for stories of 40,000 words or more. These are door stoppers, and I love those. I do like reading them, but you can only fit so many in, which is part of my current dilemma. So anyway, I went basically thought, all right, well, I'm going to read all the Hugo Best Novel winners throughout history, all of them, and I've been doing quite well. This is a project. I mean, long time readers back when I used to have a blog and things would have remembered I got.
You still do have a blog, you know?
I still got a blog, I think. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there's a list there somewhere that sort of tracking my progress through it. I'm about halfway through the every Hugo ever type list, and I want. Yes, I mean it's a bit of a collector's thing, isn't it? It's a bit of, is that the best way to go about it? Ticking off things off a list.
No.
I don't know any other way, any better, more efficient way to discover books.
It's
I'm
not
going
a bad
to
way
like.
of doing it.
Yeah, so I'm working through them anyway, and on the whole, they've been generally quite good. There's a few in there that I haven't really enjoyed, that probably I wouldn't have voted for to win, but on the whole, it's been a reasonable showcase of exemplary science fiction authorship, you know, good writing. So I thought, well, how can I get more involved with this? How do we take this little obsession to the next level? I thought, well, how about a supporting membership of the Worldcon thing? I don't even know what it's called. Basically, the Hugo Awards are given out during a science fiction convention called Worldcon, which happens every year. I think this coming year it's in Kansas, Worldcon 2, Kansas, something like that.
I can't remember.
I should probably know more about this. But so basically, if you want to vote on the Hugos, you have to go along and be a member of the big thing there. But in recent years, they've done something called a supporting membership, which is basically where you can send a bit of supporting money and then do it all online. It doesn't entitle you to a ticket to go to the Worldcon thing, but that's okay because it's quite far away and I'm busy. But I thought, well, yeah, let's do that. Let's support this whole thing. Let's get involved. Let's have a go. So I'm now actually a Hugo novel judge. I know, and it was really easy. Just like it's a bit like internet doctorates or marriages
and
or whatever.
Therein lies the rub.
Yes, I know, but it's surprising because you sign up and you get the emails back with all the bump, and you get your own number, your sort of voter number, and my number has 4 digits and starts with a 3.
Yeah.
So, less than 4,000 people get to decide, worldwide, get to decide which is ostensibly the best science fiction in the world of that year. So that surprised me, thinking in terms, because I always assumed it would be some vast constituency, some, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people all voting towards
don't
these
forget,
things.
This year is the year after a massive...
Oh, yeah.
issue.
Yeah, I'll come to
this
that.
year has an issue too.
I'll come to that, yeah. But
prior
to the issue, there was only a
story one, by the way.
Probably not, no.
I think you should.
Well, what I'll do is I'll open it up to... Because basically my personal interest is in the novel, which is one specific category. There are 5 nominations there.
Is what you propose about to be ethical?
Well, I think if anyone has any... Well, I'll certainly have a look at these things myself as well, but I just don't have the time.
I think you should. This is
the problem.
It's short stories. You should read all the short stories, having seen the list of short
I'm
stories.
not sure I'm going to have the time. This is the problem.
It'll take you an afternoon.
No, it won't, because I've got... Right, so the best novel category, 40,000 words or longer.
Yeah.
5 nominees for that. I didn't do any nominating. I could have done, but I didn't really. But part of the point for this for me is to discover what are the good books this year. If I already knew what they were, then I'd probably have nominated some. So anyway, the nominations came in about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I thought, all right, and I jumped straight on Amazon and ordered one of each. Hardbacks. I don't like hardbacks. Most of these books haven't made it to paperback yet.
You could have put them on your Kindle,
I know. Electronic things aren't real books. That's cheating. Digital nonsense. What happens if there's a massive EMP pulse over
Then you've got bigger
house?
Problems.
Yes, exactly. So books is the future. Paper. That smell.
You're such a dinosaur.
I know, I am. I'm probably going to be made extinct. Anyway, so here's the nominations for the best novel. Ancillary Mercy by Anne Leckie. I'd heard of her. And I've read the previous one of that. That's about the 3rd part in a 3-part series. So I'm going to wonder about that, but I haven't read it yet. So
okay.
I like the previous one. There's The Cinder Spires, The Aeronauts Windlass by Jim Butcher, which has the longest title.
Never heard of it.
No, I never heard of that at all. The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin.
Never heard of it.
7 Eves, a novel by Neil Stevenson.
Never heard of it.
That's the one I'm reading at the moment.
Actually, no, I've read that one.
You've audiobooked that one, haven't you?
Yeah.
And Uprooted by Naomi Novik. So there's your 5. So
which one is the puppy entry?
I don't know. See, this is the thing, the whole politics of it all. Okay, we'll get to that. But basically, my initial problem is I've got to read them all.
You're a puppy.
I've got to read them all before I can make a judgment. Wouldn't. So and the voting.
May I suggest you vote for anything other than 7 Eves?
The voting closes at the end of July. So I've
not got long.
I've not got long, no. No, it's going to take even longer if you keep interrupting me as well.
I'm going to keep interrupting you.
Yeah, okay. Well, why don't you talk for a bit?
Yeah, you can keep going.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm sort of wading my way through. I'll pick the biggest one first, which is Seven Eves. So I'm about halfway through that. I'm not going to talk about that today, but maybe I'll talk about it on another show when I've finished reading it.
How far have you got? Have you got past the idiocity or got to the really idiocity bit yet?
Well, I don't know. What do you regard to be an idiot, John? Everyone and everything.
Everyone in that book.
Well, I don't know. I'm not saying anything about that book yet because I haven't finished reading it. It wouldn't be fair. I've got 4 more to go, and between them all, they're it's 2,500 pages worth of potentially award-winning science fiction.
How many pages a day?
I get about 40 pages an hour, and it's.
Now, how many pages a day do you have to do?
I don't know. I haven't worked it all out. You can work it all out. You're clever. You've got a brain.
I don't know how many pages in each book.
Well, there's about 2,500 pages in total, and we assume they're an average length and density and such.
That's 1,000 pages a day.
40 pages an hour, roughly, I can read at that speed.
Do you have to go to work?
Well, let's put it this way: I'm sitting in the car at lunchtimes reading feverishly, and I'm putting in at least an hour every evening as well.
Oh, you'll be fine.
So I'm managing to crack about 80 pages a day. Yeah, this is the problem. I mean, okay, I was a bit late because I went on holiday and forgot to take any of these with me, which would have been useful. But
you're such a pro.
This is my first go at being a judge, and I'm not up to the job. I'm a fraud. I'm hopeless. But so this is my hobby for the next 2 months at least. The end of July, at the beginning of August is when the voting closes. I shall have read my way through about 2,500 pages worth of these, and I'll pick one of them, and hopefully it'll be a socially acceptable one, because it's gone all political in recent years, and this is bloody typical, isn't it? Of the year I decide to get interested and active and involved in all of this, suddenly it all kicks off with the big internet conspiracies and pressure groups and social justice warriors versus some sort of puppy thing, and I'm just getting really fed up with it, the politics of it all.
But it's really funny.
Well,
apart from the fact it's completely destroying everything.
It's not funny, really, because it's people campaigning on various real world grudges and hate groups and whatever to try and sway this thing to represent.
The puppies have a serious point to make. They don't want.
So does everybody listening know what the puppies are?
They're the people who want science fiction to be devoid of any form of social commentary at all, and heaven forbid they ever discover Star Trek.
Well, they see,
because they could be really pissed off if they ever discover Star Trek exists.
I don't know. I'm my usual naive, oblivious self in all this, but it turns out that certainly for 2015, last year, there was an unprecedented amount of vote rigging and lobbying and sort of groupthink on the Hugo Awards, and that saw their voting membership go up by about 1,500 from 2,500. So, nearly doubling the number of people placing votes on what wins these categories.
Paying to place votes.
Paying to play. Yeah, it costs $50 for one of these memberships. I thought it was worthwhile, but it's clearly a disincentive for the casual sci-fi reader. So a lot of these people will be putting down $50 and then voting based on a list they've been told to vote on by various internet personalities or celebrities or whatever. I don't know.
And the Hugos, of course, have no incentive to fix this, or the Worldcon, or however the money's distributed.
Well, I saw this going on last year, and I thought that all I can do is sign up myself and try and vote based on the book I like the best. And it might even turn out that I actually accidentally turn out to be a puppy. I don't know. I haven't read them all yet, but I will like one more than the others.
That's why you need to do the short stories.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was sort of reading some of the commentary.
I don't think the puppies actually managed to get organised enough to write and publish an entire novel.
Well, this is the thing. If you're a one-shot flash in the pan month, a pressure group that's been about a month or two in the organising, your guys probably haven't had time to write a 40,000-word novel and submit it before the deadline. So I'm hoping that the category for best novel is probably the one that's got the least interference and cocking about.
The problem is they take the best film last year,
yes,
or the best the feature presentation, whatever they call it. The one that won was Guardians of the Galaxy, which they claimed as a victory because they nominated it. But there was Guardians of the Galaxy was a damn good suggestion to actually win it normally.
Well, no, it's worse than that, because I've been reading up on some, because, aware of my ignorance, I've been trying to read up on some of the background behind all this political bickering and stuff, and to be honest, it's made me a lot less happy and certain about getting involved at all. But also it's kind of given me, right, my reasoning is this. Okay, so it turns out that what happens is, yes, obviously there's their own shills So you got right. So you got sad puppies, who are the people who want science fiction to be basically about rockets and laser guns, like in the Dan Dare days.
Like they were 12, yeah.
Like they were 12. Okay, that is not necessarily a terrible view. Some people like stories about rockets and spaceships and laser swords. You know, Star Wars is popular, but you know,
even that is social commentary. That is a social commentary about imperialism.
There is a potentially cogent argument that in recent years science fiction has gone far too far the other way and it's just always about issues and always about, you know, real world stuff like every third episode of Next Generation was trying to address.
Damn you, Asimov and Roddenberry.
I don't know. I'm not steeped enough in all this to have an opinion on whether that is the case or not. They possibly have an axe to grind.
Damn you, Jules Verne.
But then you got this
Damn you, Tom Swift.
You got this breakaway group call themselves rabid puppies who seem to me to be the worst sort of distillation of the Gamergate nonsense, and they really are out to try and just dump on everyone because there's too many women not at the kitchen sink or whatever, you know. Yeah. They seem to be the hate group in all this rather than the sad puppies particularly, but I just get cross that there are puppies at all, that there are now lists of approved and unapproved of, you know,
there are people taking their names off the nominations because they were nominated by the wrong people.
Well, this is the thing. I saw a fantastic article that was, the chap was interviewing George R.R. Martin, who's basically sort of, you know, Game of Thrones guy, who's basically come out as a kind of rallying point in the anti-puppies campaign. He's quite, yeah, who'd have thought, you know, the author of Game of Thrones being the socially responsible, well-minded guy. Anyway, he's got this history now of hosting his own after-party awards for people who should have won but got dumped on by politics and all that sort of thing. It's all quite funny. But he was saying that really people shouldn't pull out because. So okay, here's the situation. You got let's use a sports ball analogy. So you've got a favourite sports ballist team that you quite like, but they also have a following of some nasty boys who quite like doing Stanley knives on the terraces and stuff. You know, the worst kind of football hooliganism. Who also support the team you like. Now, how awful and reprehensible should those people have to be before you now have to not like the thing that you actually originally liked?
If anyone would like to see the history of this argument, please look up Millwall in the 80s.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying, in an abstract sense, that what is worse, being driven away from liking an ostensibly good thing. Remember, a lot of these authors that these nut jobs are nominating as their slate entry want nothing to do with this. They're just science fiction authors writing science fiction, you know? They're not necessarily doing it to please a particular faction or another. And yet suddenly they find a load of people that they really don't like getting behind them and supporting them for an award. What the hell kind of position does that put you in? That's an untenable, an awkward position. Some authors are indeed asking to be removed from these slates. That's going to go nowhere, and it becomes an active and deliberate tactic by these rabid puppies, I'm sure, because they start to understand that their approval carries a massive stigma. So why not use it in a reverse psychological sense? We'll nominate the guy we don't want to win as our favourite guy, and then that will force him to withdraw. Is that what's happening? Is that what they want?
The other thing is, after the puppies leave school and grow up and get girlfriends,
well, whatever. They're never going to get girlfriends. They're never going to grow up. But
they and have completely forgotten about. No one's going to remember that Guardians of the Galaxy won because it was nominated by.
There'll be a footnote in Wikipedia in 2077, but there'll still be a list. There'll still be the nominees. There'll still be the winners. So in the end, I've sort of reviewed all of this stuff and tried to understand where it's all coming from, what's going on, and a lot of it is disappointing and quite reprehensible. But I've decided cobblers to it. I'm going to just read the 5 books and I'm going to pick the one I like the best and I'm going to vote for it, and I just don't give a toss who else supports this book or that author or whatever. I've read a lot of science fiction. I like to think I've got a reasonably refined connoisseurship of the genre, and I know what I'm looking at, and I'm going to know which one I like. And who knows, it might be that I quite like the heroic daring-do space swashbuckling laser sword story the best. Perhaps that would just then reflect on me as being rather crude and not very refined. But what else can I do? Because if you start picking nominations based on which one's the most politically correct or which one's got the most reprehensible people not following it, then you might as well just not bother reading them at all. It's become you're sort of sinking to their level, I suppose, and in a way giving into terrorism, I think. What
you're basically saying is awards should be based on merit and not upon
yes, politics. That's what I strongly believe, and that's why I've basically put down $50 of my own money to become a supporting member and have a go at voting. Because partly I was driven by what happened last year, which was just a ridiculous thing. Mind you, I mean, having said that, my own interest in the novel category makes it a bit easier. Yes, there are choices in the 5 there that have been backed by some people I don't quite like, but I don't care. I'll read them. I'll vote for the best one. I'm not really interested in the best webzine or the best short film on YouTube or the best fan website or whatever.
You can't even do the best film because you've got no idea about any of the recent films.
But those sorts of categories where creating the works is quick and relatively easy, if those seem to be the ones that are most subject to this kind of nasty sort of, I don't know, rallying and lobbying and stuff. They seem to be the ones that your party of it is parties, isn't it? This is political parties coming, because the Hugos are now getting large enough and mainstream enough to be noticed, and the internet age helps that you're starting to get lobbying, you're starting to get different. Imagine a general election in the UK where there were no political parties. You had 650 independent candidates all being voted for. You had 5 or 6 independent candidates in each of your constituencies.
Normally that's what we're meant to have, but
and then you would not have a government. They'd all 650 independent people, not independent in the sense that they're all on the same independent party together. It would be 650 different political parties in Westminster all trying to rule the country. It doesn't work. So I guess with what we're seeing here is that the Hugo Awards are now getting large enough for politics and for political parties to become a thing. And we have 2 political parties in there doing their thing. What I expect will happen eventually, what will have to happen if it gets bigger and keeps going, and assuming they don't just massively change how it works or stop it altogether, is that you'll start to see a couple of left-leaning parties appear and start canvassing. And
I don't know.
And then it just becomes any other democratic process, a red team and a blue team voting to see who wins this time.
Isn't the fundamental problem that they lowered the barrier to entry to vote to such a low level that now
I was surprised. Yeah.
Now it's a throwaway votes to mess with it.
But does that not mean that millions potentially of well-meaning, genuine fans like myself can help correct that balance and dilute it back down again?
Yeah,
I don't know.
People aren't going to.
Am I being massively naive? I imagine I am. I usually am. It's disappointing and distressing, but I'm hell with it. I'm just not going to let this kind of stuff sway me or get in the way of my enjoyment of the process. And I'm going to read 5 books. 4 of them won't be quite as good as the other one. And remember, this is essentially a voting process on a subjective experience. It will be the one I think is the best and nothing else. And then I'll vote. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people in all forms of democracy sometimes think that voting is basically pissing in the wind. It's this one X against millions of ticks. But what else can you do? You get involved. You do your part, and then you can sit back and you can say, well, yeah, at least I tried. I took part. I did what I could to make this go properly. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Hugo Award politics. It's the novels themselves that I find the most fascinating. The works, the actual books.
Okay, we're just going to run down a couple of the other categories and see what you think.
Let's have a look at the other categories, because, like I say, I'm basically blind to everything except the novel category.
Okay, best novella.
Best novella. That'll be between 40,000 and 15,000, I suppose.
Now you can basically tell who. You can go by the publisher, which says a lot about how who voted for who.
Mm-hmm.
Best novella doesn't seem too bad. There's Binti by Needy Okorafor. I've got no idea how to pronounce that.
Needy Okorafor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Binti. The Builders by Daniel Polanski.
Penrick's Demons by Lois McMaster. Was it Beald or Bujold?
Bujold. Yeah, now she's won about 8 Hugo best novels in the past.
She's quite good.
I've never actually read any of her stuff. I've just never gotten around to it. That's all. Yeah. There's a big list there. I will read them all, obviously. But
there's Perfect State by Brandon Sanderson, and Slow Bullets by Alastair Reynolds, because he has to be there somewhere.
I like Alastair Reynolds. Yeah, I was surprised there wasn't a novel there, but I guess he's writing shorter stuff at the moment. But yeah.
Yeah, there's best novelette, but that's not Stephen King, so we're not talking about that.
Was one of these puppy slate nominations, and he was quite cross about it all. But what do you do? Do you withdraw? Some people did withdraw from the awards. So, okay, I saw some updates on their website just after the nominations had been announced, where a couple of people had started to withdraw their stuff, and other people were put in as nominations, presumably because of stupid political pressure and stuff. I don't know. If you're, some of these authors will basically think, I want nothing to do with these weird slates, and they will literally take themselves out of the running, which is wrong. Don't do that.
You got best short story, which I think you should read them all because of one of them.
Oh, well,
I'll best related work, which is just basically bollocks. Best graphic story, which I haven't read any of them. Here we go. Best dramatic presentation long form.
Wow. Oh, I've just seen the best short story thing you're on about. Its publisher is Amazon Digital Services.
That's the one that the Puppies nominated that one.
The title, which I'm not going to read out.
The Puppies nominated that one.
Yes, really.
But Zoe Quinn, the person who Gamergate was started against, has said that she'll accept the award on behalf of the author.
Oh, that's difficult now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't want to get involved in that.
Best dramatic presentation long form. Age of Ultron. Have you seen it?
The best dramatic presentation long form. That's best film, is it?
Have you seen Age of Ultron?
I haven't seen Age of Ultron. No.
Have you seen Ex Machina?
No.
Have you seen Fury Road?
Yes, I have seen one of these. I quite like that. I'm not sure if I would really vote for it as best Hugo type
Have you
thing.
seen The Martian? I know the answer to that one.
I have seen that, yes.
Which I think it probably should win, and you probably haven't bothered to see the
I haven't seen the
Force
Star
Awakens.
Wars
No.
Force Awakens
Okay.
thing, no.
So,
But I would probably...
You're going to vote for The Martian?
Well, on the basis of what I've seen... No, I'm not going to vote on that category because I haven't seen all the others. It wouldn't be fair.
What's the others? It's only fair if
I
you
might if I got time. I've got to read a lot of novels at the moment.
Okay, best dramatic presentation short form.
Okay, so this is basically a TV episode, is it?
Doctor Who Heaven Sent.
I
can't remember.
I don't think I gave up on the Capaldi, Jenna Lou Stevenson stuff, to be honest.
Grim Headache. Didn't see that because I started watching Grimm. I thought I would get around to watching the rest of Grimm, and that was many years ago.
You know, half of these I can't even get on my basic terrestrial.
Jessica Jones, aka Smile, that should win.
Okay.
My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, which I don't know if that's a joke entry or a serious entry because the whole My Little Pony.
Yeah, I've never quite.
Is weird now.
It's one of those things that starts off ironic and then gets so ironic it starts to become sincere, and no one really quite understands where the transition is.
And Supernatural, Just My Imagination. Again, Supernatural, a show I keep meaning to start watching.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't have the experience to be able to have an opinion on most of these categories.
How about Best Professional Artist?
So what else have we got? Best Editor short form.
No,
best
we were skipping
editor
that.
Long form. Best Professional Artist.
Professional Artist has Larry Elmore in.
Still, wow, he must be about 150. I remember seeing his Dragon
He had
Lords
massive heart
covers.
attacks when we were kids.
He must be some sort of lich.
And
wow,
the rest
still
quite
working. That's
boring.
fantastic.
Best fan cast. Oh, we're not on there, so who cares?
Best fan cast. Wow, we could be on. We could win a Hugo. Fantastic. Right, I'm totally retooling the show to be Hugo bait now. That's it.
Yeah.
That's us.
And the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer, which is associated with, of which Andy Weir is on the list for some reason.
He's the chap who wrote The Martian.
You can't be the best new writer when you've published several books already and had just had a major motion picture starring Matt Damon released.
Yeah. I just don't know enough about most of these categories to have an opinion, so I probably just won't vote.
You should probably watch all the films at least.
I might have time to read all the short stories, or most of all of them anyway.
No, the short story one's a complete joke, actually.
Well, but those are the categories where it's easy to just throw something out and then get your mob to get behind it.
Exactly.
They're the ones that are the most easily gamed, I think. Whereas something like the 40,000 words or higher, the best novel category, at least it retains, at least the works themselves I imagine, are sincere and genuine. It's the politics behind backing which one and trying to get which one to withdraw, I think, is the real problem.
Yeah. Well, as long as Seven Eves doesn't win the best novel, I'll be happy.
Well, I don't know. I'm enjoying Seven Eves. I'm not going to talk about it much more, but it's quite strong. He's giving me a look. I think this might be the end of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, so that's basically a thing that I'm doing that is occupying quite a lot of my time till the end of July, at which point I might have some time to play some computer games again. But yes, I've got to get through these 5 door stoppers and then decide which one I like the best.
Okay, do you want me to talk about a game then?
Yes, talk about a game.
I'm going to talk about the game with the most fantastic writing you've ever seen. It rivals that of a sci-fi movie of the week. On the
Hugo nominated.
Hugo nominated.
Best video game story.
No, and it's Uncharted, which
Uncharted.
I know is going to piss lots of people off, but God, the writing in that game is atrocious.
I saw you playing a bit of that on a previous week.
Yes, no, yeah, I've been playing.
It looks quite a serviceable parkour along.
Well, no, that's the thing.
Tomb Raider alike.
It plays brilliantly. It's brilliantly acted. It's lovely. It plays really well.
Seriously, I was genuinely impressed with the character, the flow and the character animation and motion capture work for the actual gameplay where you're clambering around on ledges and stuff.
It looks gorgeous.
Really, I mean, the sort of the diversity and variety of handholds and movements and animation and so on. I was starting to almost think, is this a cutscene? And the only reason you know it's not a cutscene is because you have a fixed camera angle for the whole time following you around, I guess. So that was very good.
Yeah, and the environmental art is brilliant in it.
Yes, yes.
It uses
really convincing backgrounds.
It uses substance to do it, so it's got really high detailed procedural textures.
Running through this prison, and there was all like pipe work and stuff on the walls, really intricate detailing, and very impressive.
Yeah, the game looks brilliant. It plays beautifully. It's really fun. The only problem, of course, is it being an Uncharted game. The plot keeps getting in the way, and it keeps wanting you to stop and do a bit of plot. And there's far too many quick time events to make you do tiny things that don't matter.
There was a lot of press X to pay respects. There was a lot of cinematic interruption as well. It was like, we do this chase bit across a rooftop, and then it falls into water, and then I shouted roll opening credits, and it did.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, okay. It really, really wants to be a movie, and I'm wondering.
And I'm so done with that idea in games.
I think there is still a large proportion of video game directors who really wish they were in Hollywood, really wish they were doing films. I mean, was it Chris Roberts?
Chris Roberts, he went off.
He did all the Wing Commander stuff, and then basically went off to do the Wing Commander movie. And
resounding success, that film. Although he went off and produced loads of other stuff. Which
fair enough. Well. But I would prefer it if the people in charge of making our video games were in it to make video games, not in it because it's a leg up into Hollywood or a bit.
That's the problem I have with this Uncharted game. It's just the plot keeps getting in the way of me playing the game.
It's a very subtle thing as well. I don't quite know where the right amount of each is. You want the cinematic experience can be fun as a video game because it complements a well-told narrative and a story, and it makes the whole thing seem like quite a polished adventure. But there comes a point where you get control taken away from you too often and so often that eventually you start to key yourself down out of I'm playing a computer game mode and just start to sit back, and then you start getting irritated when the full motion video film that's on the screen in front of you occasionally wants you to push the remote control for no obvious reason.
Now, it should be pointed out that I'm not particularly down on this game because I still reckon it's going to be one of the best games I play this year. Because seeing this later, what's coming out, I don't think anything's going to be that much better than it.
It's very polished.
Because it is incredibly fantastic. It's just, I am done with this style of game. It's just...
You're sort of just propelling this character to the next
It feels old, it started to feel old-fashioned now.
There was a whole section where you were diving around picking up crates out of a shipping container underwater. Now, was that some kind of subtle diving tutorial, or because the whole thing didn't seem to need to exist really?
Well, that was
you're swimming around underwater.
Plot-wise, that is showing that he's settled down into normal life because he's now married and promised to his wife that he wouldn't be an adventurer.
Yeah, but on the other hand, that was about 30 minutes where you basically swam around a bit, picked up 2 crates, put them down, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got lifted out of the water. So in terms of
it wasn't the most riveting gameplay. It looked beautiful.
It was very interesting, but and particularly I like what they did with the shader model to make it look like it was actually underwater footage, which was very effective, very clever. But the whole section didn't really need to exist.
That's my problem. The entire game is too long.
If that's representative of how it plays all the way through, then essentially you've got perhaps 20, 25 mini games where you're climbing up the side of a castle, chained together with an okay film.
Yeah, but the entire game was way too long. If it was a film, the editor would be cutting chunks out of it to keep it snappy.
Well, this is the problem.
And you don't get that in games. I think in this case you should. It'd be a better game if it was shorter.
That's the real problem with
this
this
whole... better game if it was shorter.
I'm using this video game to fulfill my Hollywood director ambitions. Is that video game that comes in at 2 hours would be hounded out of every internet review site ever. Too short, 0 out of 10 Metacritic or whatever. So because it's a computer game, it has to be 20, 30, 40 hours long or whatever. But that's way too long to be sitting there just watching cutscenes.
Yeah, the plot does not cover the runtime of the game, but for some reason we've started thinking that the runtime of a game is a good thing if it's longer.
Yeah, I mean, I sat through all 3 episodes of The Hobbit recently.
My condolences.
I'm glad I can say I've done it, and it was okay, but I had to do it in quite a number of sittings, and it really was way too long. There's a reason that The Hobbit, The Hobbit shouldn't be 6 hours long. It's a 2-hour motion film at best. You could have done the whole thing.
I forget who said it, but somebody said it in some review or something.
It's like they'd had enough material for 1.5 films, so they sort of just decided, well, we might as well make it 2, and then no one does 2 films, so it better be a trilogy, really. So we'll add a load of stuff to bulk it up to 3. So yeah, weird.
Yeah, somebody said, maybe Jim Sterling or someone said that they would have paid the same amount of money as watching all 3 films in the cinema just to watch a 2-hour version.
Yeah. I don't even think I had the extended edition set either.
No, you probably didn't.
No.
Did you have to change discs in the middle of the film?
No, each one was on one disc.
Yeah, there you go. You have the shorter ones.
There's more. Wow. Okay. So at that point, you might as well just turn it into a Sky Atlantic miniseries or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. If you got a 3-film trilogy,
that's probably
although traditionally you do have a 3-film trilogy, don't you?
Yes. But that's material for a series of TV shows.
And now people like HBO are looking at that thinking, we can make a film this, or we can make a TV show.
Yes.
And a lot of these things are a lot better as a TV show.
Probably charge more for a TV show
Game
and
of
people
Thrones
will
would
pay.
make a terrible film.
God, yeah.
It makes a terrible TV show. Again, I'm being controversial, but you would no way fit any of that into the film. It could barely fit into the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Uncharted then, justifiably long, or
no,
should it be
it's
shorter?
too long.
Long.
It should be, I think, shorter, and it's an odd thing to say.
Is the story worth it then? If there is a vast amount of cutscenery going on, and essentially, would it benefit? I mean, I know some people do this. They put all the cutscenes up on YouTube as a single feature film, and sometimes that works surprisingly well, and sometimes it's just really stupid.
Sometimes it's the entire game, like the order.
Well, quite.
No. The problem with the plot is it's still a computer game plot, and not wanting to say anything too bad about computer game plots, they don't have any of the subtlety that a film can have, because you can't have any subtlety in the protagonist's actions.
The facial animation stuff was reasonably good. I was starting to see distinct facial expressions of acting type caliber there.
That can happen, but there's no subtlety, because what you're doing is you are being a killing machine, because that's the only language we have.
The Lara Croft problem.
Yeah,
yes.
then it goes off and does some stuff as part of the plot, and then it goes back to being a killing machine.
Yeah.
And that does not leave a lot of subtlety for the protagonist's performance.
Yeah, the Tomb Raider reboot game, 2013 one I played recently, that has that in spades. Basically, you've got this really tense and well-written and intricate plot going on, which is about survival and about growing to cope with things and about confidence in your own abilities and so on. And, you got Lara sort of routine, for the first half of the game, Lara freaking out about having to have, shot a man or something, and then bang, straight back into my hands in the controller, and I just go, me guiding her along. She's an absolute killing machine with no remorse.
It's two different tracks, and each one has a different sense of
headshotting arrows without slowing down,
and that doesn't really work. It's the best we know how to do at the moment.
And again, that is a problem, because these people keep trying to make feature films and trying to make movies in our video games. And our video games just don't have that nuance or language.
If it had been more of a survival horror type game, Tomb Raider, then that would have gelled a lot better, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, probably not quite as fun to play.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been as fun to play, and it wouldn't have been as successful.
Yeah.
I think the problem is, it's both a game design and a writing issue. And
how do you make them
again,
meet?
not wanting to say bad things about well-known writers who wrote, say, Tomb Raider, the plot that was written and they went down didn't gel with the gameplay, so I don't think that plot was right for the game.
Perhaps the plot isn't being written at the same time the game's being developed.
Yeah,
it's just delivered as here are the cutscenes.
They didn't key into each other.
Yeah, so closer integration during the development of the game between writers and developers.
And whereas Uncharted keys in a lot better, Uncharted 2 really didn't, because Uncharted, I think it was 2, had exactly the same Tomb Raider problem, where he was going through having this massive crisis of confidence, like, I don't want to kill anyone, mowing down thousands of people.
And then up comes, out you go with the assault rifle.
And again, that was a writing issue and a gameplay issue where they weren't on the same page.
And is that something we're just expected to ignore?
Well, yes, we are.
They just hand-wave that. Oh, it's just computer games.
It happens again and again and again, and I think that is the problem. Is
missing out.
We're not getting away from it happening.
I think you're missing out on a kind of emotional richness that could be available then, if you're basically undermining any kind of deep and involving plot with just, the obligatory 20 minutes of chest-high walls and headshots.
Yeah, I think it just needs to go to the next level.
I don't know how to fix it, because essentially you're starting to move away from what computer games are. I think perhaps we need less story in our games. Yeah, Doom being the example.
Yeah, Doom is a perfect example. Something like Uncharted needs less story.
Yes,
it doesn't need as much story as put on it to hold it together.
Just play it all for laughs. Stylize all the characters, maybe turn it into some bonkers Borderlands.
No, you don't even need to do that. You can keep some story in there. It's just it has too much story.
Borderlands has a lot of story, but no one takes any of it seriously, and it's just this bonkers,
you really
crazy
don't need
fest
to go down that abstract everything away and just make it a joke. If Uncharted had less story and wasn't so insistent on being a story all the way through, and so the game was a bit smoother and flew better.
It's that sort of AAA taking yourself far too seriously curse that we saw with Mass Effect 3. You know, it's the culmination of a vast franchise. We've got to really go serious business on
it's where the Metal Gear Solids come in.
Metal Gear Solid with its 90-minute cutscenes.
Yeah, which is absolutely taking the piss for a game.
Yeah, you start to discard gaming as a basic core concept at that point, and you're trying to elevate it into, I don't know, new media, performance art, and something else.
I think there's definite... What we want is, what I want is games like Doom, where the gameplay is exquisitely good.
Yes.
And the plot is just there to support the game. So the plot supports the gameplay and can be meaningful.
I'm not against interesting types of game, but it's when you try and bolt a standard mainstream type of game that everyone's comfortable and familiar with, usually involving assault rifles and climbing ledges, trying to make that with complex and intricate narrative, that just really doesn't... You're just being pulled in two different directions at that point.
Then you get something like Firewatch, which did the complex and interesting narrative and character development. Yeah. And didn't have an awful lot of game there.
But that's what I mean. I'm not against things like Dear Esther or Everyone's Gone to the Rapture or Firewatch or Life is Strange. Yeah. You know, there are many game forms which are different and interesting that are worth exploring, which do support complex and interesting narratives well. It's when you try and bolt the standard third-person cover-based shooter onto some kind of epic journey of self-discovery and character transformation that it just all starts to fall apart and look stupid, I think.
Yeah, Uncharted is a brilliantly playing game. It annoys me constantly with giving me too much plot.
It sounds like you sort of wish it would be one or the other.
Yeah, I do.
Not trying to be both at the same time.
Yeah, and okay, if it was more plot, it would basically be disappearing up David Cage's arse.
Well, if it's more plot, then basically it becomes a film at that point. Would you watch an Uncharted movie?
Oh God, that would be terrible, because it would be a computer game adaptation movie. Fair enough. Warcraft being out soon, I hope that is good, but I don't know if I'm going to bother.
Are you going to see that?
I don't know.
I think you should, because I'm not going to. Well, we need someone to talk about it. I don't do cinema.
See, I don't really care about Warcraft.
Well, we're both going to have to.
But I suspect it's
really,
going to be suggested that I go see it, because somebody who did care about Warcraft is going to want me to go see it. So.
Excellent. And I very much feel you are our movie correspondent.
And it's a director I really like.
Okay. Well, you got no excuse then.
Yeah, I might have to go along.
I don't even know where my nearest cinema is, so I can't go and see it.
It's within walking distance of where you live, and you know it.
Is it? I thought that was a warehouse.
No, it's over the road.
Why so many people kept going in the front.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, that's where you go for your street racing.
Mm-hmm. My underground street racing, Fast and Furious. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell are we talking about?
Oh, I was ranting about how Uncharted is brilliant, but
go on then. Round up with a review. Is it good, bad?
It's basically an Uncharted game which looks more fantastic than ever. The shooting is better than ever. The climbing is better than ever. He has this really, really weird grappling hook which does stuff that Rico from Just Cause looks at and says, "That doesn't look right."
Oh, the magic rope. Yeah, that was amazing. In a word, better than or worse than Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Better.
Better? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Much better. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Couch to 5K. This is my other thing that isn't a game that I'm also doing that's kind of wearing me out. See, this is the problem. Cerebrally, I've got all this massive inbox of novels to read, and physically I'm wearing myself out with exercise because 40, bucket list, dying soon. I thought, right, time to think about my health and take care of my weight and general fitness and stuff. And I've been dieting and stuff. I don't really want to go on about that, but I've been trying to see how regular listeners might remember me talking about park runs in the past, which is basically where you go along at an unreasonably early hour in the morning
and destroy the park.
And destroy the park. And well, did you see all that news, that furore?
Yeah.
I came out in solidarity of the park runners there. Basically, a local council in Bristol decided that they were going to charge the park run organisation, which is a sort of not-for-profit type organisation that does have staff and does have money and stuff. It was going to charge them to host park runs in their local park, because apparently 1,000 people pounding around the pavement every Saturday were starting to destroy the paths and stuff, and they haven't got any money because they're being pressed by local government to save everything all the time, everywhere.
There's no money left in the country.
No money left at all for local council, so they can't afford to replace the parks. So they were going to charge Park Run to do that, and Park Run, on a matter of principle, said, no, we're just not going to do your park run at all anymore in your park. So in solidarity for park running, I thought, I'll go along and have another go at a park run. It's been a year. My God, that hurt. I came in about 38 minutes, 39 minutes, something or
That's
other.
terrible.
It's terrible.
I could drive it in seconds.
You could drive it in seconds, yeah, exactly. Terrible. It's 5k, and exactly. So I thought, all right, I'm just knackered here, and I managed to do myself a sporting injury as well as I was yomping along, walking around at high speed, trying to make up lost time. Anyway, I thought I need to go back to basics with all this. I really think I ought to be able to run the entire 5k, run or jog, but no walking, no stopping and wheezing and stuff. And so I thought, well, okay, I'd heard about this thing called Couch to 5k, which I guess isn't the original invention of the NHS, but
they co-opted it.
Yeah, the NHS have put together a series of podcasts on their website. You can search for this. You're all clever people and know how to use Google. I don't know if foreign people can use it. They probably can. I don't imagine NHS are clver enough to geolocate.
Cover your ears for a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Ignore the podcast. Just get one of the apps that will play your own music and put the voice over the top of your own music. It'll be fine.
You've always got an over-tech solution, haven't you? I bet you've got a Fitbit, haven't you? Some sort of widget that's monitoring you at all times.
It's called my phone.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you might want to do this to please your machine overlords, but I'm doing it for my own benefit and my own health. So what I've done is downloaded a load of these things, and basically they are just literally half-hour podcasts recorded. And the genius of it all is that they basically, over a series of 9 weeks, they increasingly upstage the amount of running versus walking you do within that half an hour. Really straightforward and simple. You just need a little lightweight MP3 player and some of those headphones that go over the top of the ear so they don't bounce out when you're jogging along. And you basically, over 9 weeks, so yeah, here's an example. So week one, the week one podcast starts with a 5-minute warm-up walk. Then you alternate 60 seconds of running, 90 seconds of walking for a total of 20 minutes. And then a 5-minute warm-down walk at the end.
Sounds easy enough.
It does sound easy enough. It damn near killed me, though. Because I just don't seem to have the discipline or have built up the stamina. The stamina's the problem. On my running, my legs are fine. I don't get achy legs. The muscles aren't cramping. I'm not worn out there. It's the breathing. I can't get the oxygen to my muscles fast enough. So I did smoke in the past. That's probably not helped. But in general, I think just lung capacity and the ability for your blood to carry the oxygen from the lungs to the muscles in question and back again is something that presumably can be developed, presumably can be improved. So you work on your stamina that way. So I've been basically doing that. You've got to do that one 3 times, 3 separate days. You can't do them 2 days in a row. You need rest days in between. So once you've done that 3 times, you move on to week 2, then 3, then 4, and so on. I just done a week 4 one today. Earlier
is that
today.
why you look?
I look a bit beetrooty.
Peaky.
Yes. I got all those exercise endorphins. So week 4 was begin with a brisk 5-minute walk, then 3 minutes of running, 90 seconds of walking, 5 minutes of running, 2.5 minutes of walking, 3 minutes of running, 90 seconds of walking, 5 minutes of running. So 16 minutes of running in total over the half hour. And that's about halfway through the thing, and it builds up and up, and eventually by week 9, so I got to do that one 3 times. I think I just did the second one today. I got to do it once more. By the time week 9 comes around, I ought to be able to just do a 5-minute warm-up walk and 30 minutes of running and then a 5-minute warm-down walk. At that point, I'm going to then go and do a park run again and see how that's helped. Hopefully, I'm going to come in under half an hour, but you don't know. I mean, this is all based on time rather than distance, because different people have different strides and different paces and so on. There's no specification as to what sort of speed you need to be running stroke jogging at. And, the woman on the Laura, she's nice. She's sufficiently bossy to keep me motivated, but not irritating, so that's good. But, she said, you have to keep the pace relatively light and relatively low because it's more about stamina and endurance than sprinting or anything like that. And so far, I've managed them all. I haven't had to stop. I haven't had to give up. I just read there today that apparently you're allowed to, if you can't manage one, then just back off and do a previous week's and then keep going until you can do the next week's one again. I didn't know about that, so I was basically pushing myself to make sure I actually nailed precisely what the instructions were, and so far I've been managing to keep up with it. This from someone who's not terribly fit at all, so I recommend that highly. I mean, as you say, there's obviously apps out there. There's
also games, something like Zombies Run. There's a Zombies Run 5K, which is a running app.
Does that do a similar staged incremental?
Yeah, it does exactly the same. That's staged
thing,
incremental, and it plays your music and also has plot going on.
I don't really want a narrative.
It tells you to run away from zombies.
I don't really want a narrative adventure. This is exercise.
Gamification. That's
gamification. I don't know. Shouldn't we be just stronger and have more self-determinant willpower than that? Do we have to be chasing a metaphorical cookie to get anything useful done, or should we just be able to, as human beings, be able to just stand up and go, "I am going to get fitter," and do it?
No.
Well, there we go.
Because you're chasing the metaphysical fitness goal of being fit.
Well,
which is just an achievement in itself.
Is it not enough to do things
I
for
am
their
fit,
own?
blink.
It's not going to go blink. When I've done week 9 and half an hour running, I'm probably
week 8.5. Your heart's going to go blink, and then you'll keel over.
8.5, I'll probably keel over. Yeah, but once I get to week 9, you just do week 9 over and over again. You just carry on. Essentially, you're just doing a half-hour run 3 times a week then. But then they've got a 5k to 10k program as well. I might look into that. They've got something called Strength and Flex as well, which is a 5-week program that builds up to week 5 that you just keep doing, and that's basically more about doing sort of press-ups and stretches and things. And apparently you can intersperse that. You can do that on your rest days from the Couch to 5k as well if you're super keen. And apparently it does help you with the running as well, because you're just building up muscular strength as well at that point. But I'm just doing the Couch to 5k. I'm plodding on. I'm getting there. I'm doing it, and it is actually working. It's starting to work. I'm finding it getting easier as I go. But the thing is, it cranks up just about the same rate I'm improving. So it's always seeming like it's bloody hard at the moment. But on that rationale, I'll be doing what I previously thought to be impossible, which would be running for 30 minutes without stopping at all. And it'll still seem bloody hard, but I wouldn't have been able to do it at all to begin with. So.
I would mock all this, but I've been meaning to do it myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we'll see. We'll see when I got like
marathons.
When I'm running marathons and you're like
I've got Snickers
sitting enjoying yourself with food and computer games and things. Actually, I don't know who's the winner here really. It'd probably be me, but there you go. So so I'm doing that, and I'm still going on. So I've got like another 5 weeks of that to go, and then I'll let you all know how I'm getting on with the can I actually run for half an hour without stopping type thing.
I wonder if there's a pub 2.5 kilometres away from me.
I could just start running over here for the podcast. I'll just run everywhere. I'll sell my car, run to work.
Isn't it more like 10 kilometres to get here?
I don't know. I'll have to gear up to that then, yeah.
Also, you can't run to work because you'll be killed on the dangerous road.
Yeah, I work 20 miles away from where I live, and there are some people who cycle along there, and I'm surprised they are still alive.
I'm surprised they're alive as well, because I try and kill them every day.
I used to be a keen cycler when I was young, but you can't do it on these modern roads. It's crazy out there. Yeah. So yes, fitness and literature.
And you can even do them in games.
Fitness and literature, that's what I'm all about at the moment this week. So there we go. So what about you? Have you got anything else to say?
No, because we've hit the minute mark.
Oh, well, I got that as an hour. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly an hour.
Do your spiel then.
Yeah, if you've enjoyed this, then please give us a like. And if you want to see more of this, give it a subscribe. And if you think your friends will like it, then please tell them about it, because they may like it.
Yep.
Only you know if your friends will like this, because you know your friends and I don't know your friends. Or unless I know your friends, then they probably already know about it. Then
I don't know your friends, no.
You know some of my friends. You can go along to howtomurdertime.com, where you can see all our previous episodes and Tim's long dead blog.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I don't know.
And also you can do other stuff, I guess. I've lost interest.
Shall we wrap up then? See you next time.
Goodbye.